how did you gain 5 million users?
Or how we got this 250 billions of US dollars volume.
Or that as well, yes.
We were working for free 1.5 years in the nights, traveling around the globe. We had normal jobs. We just built something what we actually were looking for, what we didn't find. This mentality is also is similar to Porsche, actually. How do you know how the first Porsche was built?
The first Porsche. Please tell us. What is the future of decentralized exchanges? This is the theme of our discussion with our next guest, Sergej Kunz. He is the co-founder of the 1inch Network, one of the largest DEXs in the world. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for your invitation. And I have to say, it's not just one of the biggest DEXs or something. It's a bit more than just a DEX or something like this. It's aggregation and with additional services, wallets. We just try to improve the space by having better user experience, by interacting with Web3.
You're very humble to say you're just trying to improve. You're doing a lot for the space. But tell us about 1inch, all the services you provide, how many users, what kind of volume we can see on the network.
If you look on the numbers, we have just 2.8 million of users who interacted with our DApp. The DApp is just an application, like a website, which interacts with the smart contracts and Web3. Of course, we have a lot of integrations, and we count around, I guess, 5 million of wallets which interacted with our protocols. And this is really a small amount if you look to Web2 projects where you have hundreds of millions of people and more. But if you look on the numbers in terms of volumes which our protocols generate, at least in a recent time with the DPEC of USDC, we got for 24 hours, $4.5 billion of US dollars of volume. And in total, we achieved already more than 250 billions of US dollars from 2019, where we actually have built 1inch Network, the first approach of it on the hackathon. It was just a competition project. We came to an idea how to just solve a huge problem in this space, that it makes no sense to exchange just on one single DEX. If you look on the stock market, for example, you don't go to just one Frankfurt exchange to exchange hundreds of millions of US dollars, right? You split it in small amounts and exchange everywhere a little bit, or you use market maker who is doing that for you. And we have built such a solution for decentralized finances. And nowadays we are more than this, I would say.
Okay, Sergej, there's been a lot of attention on decentralized exchanges ever since FTX failed. In the news, all we hear about is DEX versus centralized exchanges. So tell us about the main differences between a decentralized exchange in terms of the user experience versus something like FTX or Binance, and the advantages of using a decentralized exchange.
So we see this centralized approach, like crypto centralized exchanges, where you have to deposit your tokens, or you can just directly buy. It's nice user experience, right? It's easy. You trade very fast, so the service works very fast in terms of like the trades potentially directly executed. You don't have to wait until the next block is mined, just in 12 seconds. On centralized exchange, you can do it really smoothly. But there are also shadow sides. So we have seen FTX, huge drama. Someone became greedy and gambled with their user funds. And this is really bad, because someone trusted the centralized entity, FTX, and the people behind that. And it's actually what's happening also with the banks right now. In Silicon Valley, we have seen this huge drama and a DPEC of USDC because this bank was not successful in management of the funds. And if you remove this, you get a DEX. There's no man in the middle. There's no single point of failure. There's just a smart contract, which is in the best case, fully audited, like Uniswap ones. But there are also some shadow sides. On the other sides, you get front-running attacks. If you send a transaction, it can fail. You pay the transaction cost. Someone can exchange before you and after you by knowing that you exchange 100 million of US dollars, yeah, on Uniswap. That's why we introduce aggregation to improve the best execution, because you never know if a DEX has the best liquidity and best rate, right? There's a new token, it's only launched on SushiSwap, and you go to Uniswap, you cannot exchange there, right? That's why we need aggregators. But also with the aggregators, you have the problem, if you send a transaction, someone can abuse you and exchange before you and after you and sandwich you and extract value from your trade, and you get less than expected. That's why we have the fusion, yeah? You just say,
what is the fusion, sorry?
The one-inch fusion is a new approach where you just set a limit order, actually. And this limit order is an algo order. Yes. That means it contains complex logic, and it says, okay, US user, you are okay to exchange from one specific rate to another specific rate in specific period of time. And professional market makers can execute against your order. It's like, maybe better word is decentralized NASDAQ.
Okay.
Yeah. So the user sent the order, and someone who is very professional executed for the best rate. To ensure the best execution, we choose to implement it in Dutch auction manner. So the price, the rate starts to drop for the user, to become worse and worse and worse, but in the range which is acceptable for the user.
Okay. One of the issues of a decentralized exchange is the lack of liquidity sometimes. Now, how do you go about solving that problem? Do you provide liquidity pools?
So we just integrate all liquidity sources which are existing on all the chains. For example, Ethereum, we have 25 liquidity sources. Every liquidity source is a smart contract. If it's a decentralized exchange like Uniswap, SushiSwap, Balancer, and so on, Curve. And also there are also market makers who are plugged in with their own wallets, and they take risks when they exchange against the user. But they hedge with centralized exchanges. That means we bridge actually the centralized liquidity to decentralized world by having this aggregation approach which we introduced back in 2019.
Are there ever big price discrepancies between the spot price of a protocol and the actual trading price on a decentralized exchange? In other words, are there major arbitrage opportunities because maybe sometimes liquidity is not always there?
Yeah, you have all the time arbitrage opportunities. If you look on the blockchain, most of the transactions are arbitrage transactions. People arbitrage different networks. For example, Ethereum, Polygon, and Binance Smart Chain. If the price of Ethereum drops on one chain, then the other, like arbitrage trader, try to arbitrage it with the other chains and centralized exchanges as well. So we call it also, after a trade, after a huge trade, for example, someone exchanged 10,000 Ethereum to USDC, you will see a backrun. Backrun means someone discovered that in Ethereum, the price of Ethereum dropped, and it makes sense to buy it on Ethereum and to sell it on centralized exchange. And we call it backrun. So, and this happens very, very often, so the arbitrage opportunity is always there.
In a centralized exchange, they make money on a spread. What is the business model of a decentralized exchange?
So in the centralized exchange world, there's actually no possibility for a normal retail user to provide liquidity and to earn on the volumes, right? So only professional market makers get access to the order books in terms of they have own algorithms, and they sell, they buy, and keep the spread maybe 20 bips big. So in terms of decentralized approach, which we see in DeFi, everyone can become liquidity provider. Everyone can become market maker by just providing two assets, for example, Ethereum USDC, into one smart contract, a program, which ensures that when someone comes and exchange on this liquidity, that the user don't lose value in the trade, because on each trade, fee is charged, and fee is distributed to liquidity provider,
yes,
not to the DEX owner. Because in DeFi, decentralized finance approaches, we have no owners of decentralized DEXs normally. Of course, there are some implementations, some people who try to do centralized things with decentralized protocols. But in case of Uniswap, for example, we are also personally a liquidity provider. You don't pay to Hayden Adams who invented Uniswap, for example. When you exchange there, you pay to the liquidity provider, and if you one of these liquidity provider, you get some small fees from this. You can get actually passive income. You deposit in a specific price range, which is kind of healthy. Just say you're okay to buy Ethereum up to $800, and you are okay to sell it up to $20,000, right? As long as you sit in this position and with there's a volume, you earn a lot of time on this. Yeah, and this is a it opens a new world for everyone. Right now, you cannot go to the bank and say, okay, I would like to give you 100,000 USDC and USD and 100,000 euro, and you do something with that I earned with it. Yeah, you can just deposit USD right now to the central bank, or you can buy bonds or something. Right. But it's also like you trust someone. You trust a bank, and a bank can close, and you lose all your funds.
Well,
right?
One thing a depositor of a centralized exchange can do is stake a protocol, earn yield. Some would argue that in a DEX, you don't have that option most of the time, and so the yield is attractive for a lot of people.
The thing is, everyone should understand money is not coming from nowhere. Mm. If someone tell you you can go to centralized exchange and stake money and get some yield, you should also understand that this centralized entity is doing something with your money. Maybe it's gambling, yeah. If you stake, for example, in a protocol like Liquidity, which is also in DeFi, which also based on smart contracts, then you can be sure that the money is used for specific approach and is sitting in a smart contract. Yeah. So, but in centralized entities like centralized exchanges, you never know what's happening. That's why also regulators try to regulate it, and I like that they also try to protect people, because if someone gives to Coinbase like tokens for staking, you cannot prove what they do with that. You know, they can maybe gamble with it, create a long short position, or I don't know, give it to someone else. Yeah, just is kind of. Yeah.
Tell us about the 1-inch token. What is the utility?
So 1-inch token was launched 2020 in December 24th, Christmas night, by the 1-inch Foundation, which is completely independent from us, core contributor. It ensures that the network grow, expands, and have a healthy ecosystem, I would say. So they launched the token, distributed among people who already use the protocols. Yeah. So they get the possibility to stake the token and to participate in the governance. So one side is the governance. Recently we got a network upgrade for the staking. Nowadays you have to stake for a specific period of time until like up to 2 years. Minimum is 1 month. Mm-hmm. And if you stake for 2 years, you get one 1-inch token and one unicorn power. We call it unicorn power. With this unicorn power, you can delegate your unicorn power to resolvers who actually execute the fusion trades, just algo limit orders, which I explained. And you can also delegate to people who are very active in the decentralized autonomous organization, a DAO, who propose some changes in the protocol, or maybe new products as well, what we have seen recently also at 1-inch. Someone came with the idea of aggregation of NFT marketplace. There's a team who would like to build on that. They ask from the DAO for money.
I want to come back to just the token. And a lot of people don't understand why an exchange would need a token. And actually what we saw after FTX collapsed is a lot of people are skeptical of what the real life use case of a token is. FTT was used primarily to pump up their valuations.
Yes.
And let's address this. After that happened, regulators looked into that. Actually, I come from Canada, and just recently the Canadian regulators recommended that exchanges do not have proprietary tokens, should not have, are not allowed. How do you respond to this misconception or perhaps idea that all tokens are scams?
So I agree that specific DEXs or specific protocols, they actually don't need any token. For example, Uniswap, they have a token for governance. Of course, this kind of new thing, new experiment, and the governance should be done by a community, which is fully committed to the protocol, to the project. In terms of Uniswap, what we see, VCs have the most of the tokens, and recently they voted against to deploy Uniswap on Binance Smart Chain. It was like only 2-3 players. That means centralization. So in these terms, like this approach of the token is not really well done. That's why we introduced this long staking period where you lock the token and you power decrease, and you need to extend, you need to be committed. And in case of FTX, the token was just used as kind of utility to reduce the fees which were charged by FTX. The same is happening right now with Binance. The Binance token is used actually to just, you can buy this token and keep it on your account, and you get discount for the fees. On DEXs it's differently. No one is using that to reduce the fees. How I know right now, it's not that efficient because you need to have a very efficient execution on smart contract level, because every execution is very expensive on the blockchain. From my point of view, some projects shouldn't use a token at all because it makes no sense. In our case, it makes a lot of sense since we have this delegation to the resolvers. So to choose the right resolvers, you need someone who decide this. And only committed people who stake and get the unicorn power can decide which resolver is good for the ecosystem.
Sorry, just back up a little bit. What is unicorn power? Explain.
So unicorn power is like voting power of the user, which the user get after stake.
Did you come up with that name?
I love unicorns. So I have a daughter, she's also loving unicorns, and our logo is also unicorn. Okay. Actually, it's also a funny story how we came to the logo. It's like, I was hacking on Ethereum New York hackathon back in 2019. Okay. And I was speaking with Vitalik about this idea, and he liked it as well. And then I was very concentrated, and I was seeing that Hayden Adams walk around, and I tried to talk with him, but he had no time. But then in this process, just before I have seen him, we were thinking with Anton about the logo, which logo we should use. And then I have seen Hayden, tried to talk with him, and thought like, why not unicorn? But it should be special unicorn. And to this time, our team name was Cryptomaniacs. It was like a logo with a hat and a gas mask. And we thought like, why not to create a logo for 1 inch? Just a unicorn which is like very focused, very efficient, because we are building something efficient. We came to something what is more efficient what was existing compared to all other solutions out there. And maybe also cool thing about 1 inch. Why 1 inch? What do you think?
Exactly. I mean, why? Please, I'm thinking of answers. I cannot think of it.
It's not about size at all.
That would be sad.
So 1 inch because 1 inch punch of Bruce Lee. So I'm a martial arts fan from like I was like
you do some martial arts
or something. I do whole life martial arts. I started with karate. I'm a second brown belt in karate, Shotokan karate. I switched to Muay Thai, then I switched to mixed martial arts and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well. So I was fan of Bruce Lee and still. And actually, if I give you my hand, so you are two handshakes away from the daughter of Bruce Lee and Bruce Lee itself.
Oh, you wait. What's that? What? Just nothing to do with one inch. Well, what is? I'm Bruce Lee fan as well. Tell me.
Yeah, I had the pleasure to meet a friend of Shannon Lee.
Okay.
Yeah, and we would love also to collaborate with them. Right now we are speaking with them. Maybe there's a room for collaboration because like we built something what is based on the kind of mentality of the approaches which Bruce Lee followed, yeah, to do something highly efficient. So he said once, for example, he has no fear from someone who knows 1,000 techniques. He would have fear from someone who do one specific technique very, very good.
10,000 times.
Yeah, 10,000 times. Yeah. And this is our approach. We do everything what we do highly efficient. We do a lot of security of this most of the times. So yeah, and this unicorn power. Back to the question, it's like voting power. So you can vote for resolvers. You can vote in the governance as well. You can delegate your voting right. It's just a kind of power inside of the organization.
Finally, Sergej, let's talk a little bit about you. Software engineer. You train martial arts. All right, so why did you start 1inch?
So I have actually no degrees, so I have no bachelor, no master, nothing. I just learned software engineering in Germany. There's a way to not waste the time with studying something. You can just work in a company, and every 6 weeks, for 2 weeks, you go for the school. So you get your basic skills. Actually, we had no math, so I actually missed this. I actually missed that I didn't do the bachelor and maybe the master, because right now I have to deal with algorithms and with really higher math. But anyway, I had no need for this before. I was working in startups. An aggregation startup for products. For example, if you go to the LG website and you choose one of the smartphones and you would like to buy it somewhere, there's an option where to buy. Actually, this functionality I built in this startup. What I missed all the way in Germany as a software engineer, I never got an offer for option in the company, never got huge bonuses. I was working sometimes 2 days a piece without any sleep. Really, to deliver this functionality for LG, I didn't sleep 2 days.
I understand.
I got just 150 euros gift in a sushi restaurant for this. Yeah, and
was it good sushi?
It was good. It was good. Yeah. So then I built my own aggregator for telecommunication.
Okay.
I couldn't rest after the work. Like it was for me not not action enough, I would say, and I improved myself all the time. I actually started with 13 to study software development, because my teacher said, no one of you could program a website. And I was 13, and I just, it took like 1 month, so I had my website. So, and I found out it's not that complicated. And I started to study PHP, programming language, Java. And so I get also my first job in this company, where I also was studying in parallel to the work. Because I was very good, because I spent not just my school time to learn something, I use my free time. The same I continue to do all the time beside my job. After 8 hour, 10 hour working, I came at home, ate something, did maybe some sport, and then I continue work until late in the night, like 2 a.m., sometimes to 4 a.m. At 8 a.m. I had to go to the work. And I did it actually until 2021, I would say. So 2019 we started on the hackathon with the 1inch, and in this time, like, I was working for a consulting company, and then I switched to Porsche. And it was also a great experience. So I was working in startups, consulting companies, and also enterprise companies like Porsche AG in Stuttgart. And in parallel, all the time I educated myself. I improved my skills. Sometimes the whole week I slept like a day only 3-4 hours, not more. And I found out that if you sleep less, you are more creative. You perform better. but for the body it's not good. So that's why also you need like sport, and so I try to combine it, but sometimes it was really difficult.
Okay. I don't recommend people try sleeping 3 hours to be more creative. I tried it. I was not more creative.
After specific time, it makes
take naps.
You became creative, but it's healthy thing. Your body needs to be prepared. I did it in the last the whole 18 years almost.
And you're still able to train martial arts.
Yes.
With minimal sleep.
Yes, it works. But sometimes you need to rest. Like at a Friday, you need maybe potentially good sleep. And also, what's happened to me? 2018, my wife decided to leave me, and we had a daughter, and I had to move to her office, which I rent for mining. I did some Ethereum mining. She said like I have to leave my own flat, and I did it. It was really like hard time, but also in the same time really nice time. So I met Anton. I spent time a lot with him to travel around the globe, to participate in hackathons, programming competitions.
Anton, your co-founder?
My co-founder, yeah,
yes.
Anton Bukov. So we participated on 17 hackathons around the globe. We won twice Ethereum Global main prize. It's very difficult to get one. And there I learned also that you potentially don't need to sleep over 2 nights, 2 days. So how Vanish was built, I didn't sleep 2 nights, 2 days at all. Yeah, and delivered. At the end of the second day, the room behind me started to change. Like move. Yeah, it was funny. We delivered, we achieved the goal, and we continued. Also after we built 1inch, we continued to develop different things. We built actually these flash loans from Aave. Aave introduced flash loans, where you can just grab for a lot of money for one transaction and give it back, which is very often used by hackers. Right now, recent hack on Euler happened also with flash loans. Actually, we are responsible for the flash loans which were used by the Aave implementation. Okay. And then we provided a small piece of code and suggested Aave to implement this. Yeah, they did never mention this, but yeah, it was also a hackathon.
I'm curious. Final question, Sergej, and I'll let you go. I'm curious what your customer acquisition strategy is. You grew from your hackathon to millions of users.
2.5 men. Yeah, we were working 1.5 years as a 2.5 men. Anton and Michael as advisor.
How did you gain 5 million users?
Or how we got this 250 billions of US dollars volume.
Or that as well, yes.
We were working for free 1.5 years in the nights, traveling around the globe. We had normal jobs. We just built something what we actually were looking for, what we didn't find. This mentality is also is similar to Porsche actually. How do you know how the first Porsche was built?
The first Porsche, please tell us.
The Ferdinand Porsche was looking for a new car, but he didn't find the car he wants actually, and they decided to build by themselves, and they built the first Porsche. Because he didn't find itself. That's what we did actually. We built by ourselves, for ourselves, and we started just to improve it because we have seen people start using it. After 1 week after the hackathon, we have seen people using it.
I think this is like Lamborghini as well. It's a similar story.
Oh yeah, Lamborghini's story is...
They built their own sports car to rival Ferrari, yeah.
Yeah, because they found issues at Ferrari car, offered to help, but they declined, and they started to build own cars, yeah. Very successfully. And we solved also a problem. When you solve a problem, which is really helpful for a lot of people, then you face the organic growth. Right. Yeah, and we used also we had no money actually for marketing or something. We used memes. We used memes to work with the community. We released new feature and used memes. It helped a lot.
You use memes where, like on Reddit?
On Twitter. Okay. We count now 1,300,000 followers on Twitter right now.
You didn't have any investors raise money for this?
We didn't raise at the beginning. We were just normal guys, software engineers. We had no experience about how to raise funds. I have never seen this in Germany. and Anton as well. And then one day we tried to pitch someone that we need a little bit money. We would like to work full time because first 1.5 years we worked just in the nights.
Yes.
Yeah, by having normal day jobs.
Yes.
And we asked someone, okay, how can we get some money for like working full time at least for this project? And yeah, people suggested us to raise money.
Yes.
So we got a little bit from the community. Gitcoin, for example, is a good project where we just submitted application and we got a little bit. It helped a little bit, so we could hire one guy who helped us. So we didn't pay to ourselves, we just paid to this guy from this community grant. It was 50K, I guess. And then one day we raised the first round, 1.2 million of US dollars from professional investors, also from Asia, also from Silicon Valley. Binance Labs invested as well, and it changed. Then we had the money to pay more people. We still didn't pay to ourselves. And after 3 months, we got the second round, like around 12 million of US dollars. Again, bigger players, bigger VCs, who not just give us money, they gave us opportunity to get access to the network. So for example, I asked one day for the Wolf of the Wall Street, the Belfort.
Right.
Yeah, Mr. Belfort. And they organized a call. We were speaking with them. We were like discovering how we can maybe find a solution to maybe to work together or something. Yeah, kind of this kind of help helps a lot. And if you need talents, they help also very well. So this I call smart money. Like you get someone who help you. Yeah, yeah. This kind of story. And in the third round, we raised 156 million of US dollars to build institutional product. We are the first startup in Switzerland who got a SRO license for a DeFi product. So we are going to release this year 1inch Pro. So a service where institutionals can exchange without trusting anyone by using protocol in fully compliant manner.
Perfect. Sergej, very good talk. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for telling your story and teaching us about 1inch. And thank you for watching. I'm David Lin. Don't forget to subscribe.